Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Hex Token Channel. Woohoo! Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, and of course, the PulseX Sacrifice is going to be the main topic of today. We've got a few topics to talk about as usual, but of course, the big HexPo online conference started today. First day, pretty much close to finishing, just on the last hour, which is probably going to run a bit over the last time. So, very, very cool. Let me just, audio sounds pretty good, folks, so very, very cool. So if you were watching the last, say, 6 hours of the HexPo conference on Matty Allen's channel, I've got a little poll there. What HexPo conference day one show, if that's assuming you watched any of them, did you enjoy the most? Did you enjoy the most? We got the first hour or two. They had the intro, a lot of big personalities in Hex Pulsechain, and of course then followed by some really cool testimonials from people. Number two, of course, was Hex Talks, and that was hour 3, and then a Power T-Shares hour 4. That was my personal favorite, and it seems like it's the majority at the moment, 60%. And of course, the last 2 hours were hour 5 and 6 with the social media, which I found some really cool things in that. That was really quite cool. And it was nice to see a few faces to a few names that I hadn't seen before, so very cool. And then the final hour, which is still on at the moment, and that is the Hexcan hour. So having a good chat there too with some new faces as well that I haven't seen before. So really, really cool coverage. Get to the poll, folks. Got 5 votes so far, and we'll check that out during the later on in the live stream. Let's get straight into it, folks. You know what we're here about. We're about the numbers. You know that's what I care about. I love the numbers. And of course, that's how we're going to roll. So let's get straight into it. Before we do that, of course, we're going to look at day 2 for HexPo. It's going to start up tomorrow. They run about 6 hours. They're 6 hours every day. Tomorrow is going to be the price on the front. So for all of you after the price, you know you love that. I love it too. And of course, we've got, I think it's coffee in there as well, and a few other personalities around the price panel. That's going to be the opening hour. So that's going to be pretty fun. Then a Hex Talks, and of course, we've got Kareem the Dream in there with a few other people. So that looks like it's going to be pretty awesome as well, hour 2. So Hex Talks, you get a lot of insights into T-shares and lots of fundamentals as well. And of course, then we're going to have the descent panel. Ooh, the descent panel. That should be pretty hardcore. Let's see how that goes. And it's good to have that, though. You've got to have some nice little dissenters in there. That's cool. And sometimes you learn a bit of stuff, too. And then we've got Discord Syndicate Highest of Stakes Keynote. Woohoo! That's going to be huge because that's a big thing for virality at the end of 22, early 2023. So January 23 is kind of when it's sitting, but you never know. They could always pull it out of the hat a bit earlier. We'll find out. And then, of course, Hex Musicans after that, social, and that'll be a bit different if you're into music. That would be pretty cool to see that. And then finally, a nice Hexcan social hour, just like what's on at the moment, be for tomorrow. So that's what's coming up tomorrow, folks. I just thought I would talk about that. It's a pretty big deal. A lot of hard work goes into that, so definitely a lot of insights for you if you're in the Hex or Pulsechain or PulseX. Definitely something for everyone there. Very, very cool. Let's get into the chat there. We've got a couple of comments. We've got Matt and Barley. Let's go over 400 million now. You were over 400 million. We're going to check all of that. And Dr. Sergio's in the house. Hey, good to see you. Fatal Fury's in there. Is ETH and BTC dumping because of the sacrifice? It just might be that way, Fatal Fury. Maybe some of those tokens are being dumped on the market and turned into some DAI stable, something like that. So that's probably not too bad. Folks, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Hey, we just passed 2,400 subscribers on the channel. And, of course, a big thank you to all of you that have supported this channel. Big, big ups on that. Heading towards the big 2.5. I think it's a pretty cool milestone, and that'd be pretty cool to see. So let's see if we can do that sooner than later. The other side of course, is hope you guys having a lot of fun out there because this is a lot of fun. Let's get straight into it, folks. Let's get into a bit of the price at the moment on Hex. So 22.7 cents at the moment. That's a pretty good day in the office and looking nice for a potential setup. We could end up, beating out I guess the consensus at the moment is that we won't get much higher before the end of the sacrifice phase, and of course, but this green candle gives us some optimism, some hopium, as it were, because it was a pretty good day in the office. And of course, just after the day closed, when I did my daily update video, make sure you go check that out if you haven't seen it. The price really just spiked up after the close, which is how many hours ago now? 7 hours ago. So it closed up and spiked up there. We've had a high so far, 23.47. Obviously, that was also the launch of the HexPo conference, started at stage 2. So interesting timing there. And of course, the price jumped up with a couple of big buys in a row. Pretty nice, but still holding up there, 22.7 cents. Cool to see that for sure. And if we actually look at at some of the indicators, we've got the CCIs looking like it's pretty positive as well. So for those of you who've got Hex and you're waiting to sacrifice, you just never know. You just never know whether it's going to get up there. It's definitely looking better in some regards. So the RSI is also looking a bit better here as well. And if we can get a bit more buying up into that, past that 24 cents, we should be in pretty happy territory there as well. So not too bad. Let's see here. The 28 cents is the magic mark, really, to hit that back. But this whole chart looks very pumpamental to me. And even if we don't get the price rising before the sacrifice to close on 10, I think I'm feeling very good that we would get a nice price rise up here to a new all-time high. I'm still feeling very good about that as we lead into Pulsechain, and that could be quite furious. The height, that could be really mad rush there. We'll see how we get on at the moment. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Hope you are too. Let's get into some of just one of the highlights. One of the slides I want to highlight was in the Hex conference. Just before we move on to PulseX Sacrifice, was the Power of T-Shares was awesome by Patrick and Abit there from the 555 tour. And just wanted to hats off to them. And just want to make a couple of comments. I did make it in the chat when I was there, and that is, this is their prediction, update prediction of the share pool. So the amount of total T-shares in Hex, and of course they've got that going down from 2020, obviously 2022 now. We're at 10.6 million now, and of course they've got this here just indicating going down. You got 10.6 there at the end of 21, going down to 10.1 and so forth. So T-shares just keep going down. By the time you get to 2025, 8.5 million T-shares keeps going down quite dramatically. And I actually think this is going to accelerate. So if this is a nice general prediction, it's great. But I actually think that this is going to accelerate. And I think that we're going to get around 2025, I expect to see a lot of long-term stakes, OG stakes, early in stake as a function of the price of Hex. So as the price of Hex moves higher, that would be an increasing chance that we'll move off this curve, and instead of having a decrease, we could end up seeing this accelerated, like brought forward earlier. So I think that's pretty fascinating, but fantastic prediction by the team. And of course, they were pretty good over 2020, 2021 with their predictions for the most part. And nice. And of course, then of course, they got the T-shares. And the other thing you want to see is what is the payout. And of course, the inflation payout there, they got 62 million there, but then rising over time. So the less T-shares, less shares to have in the pool, but rising payout going over the years, all the way up to 2035 now. And you can see with only one, by 2035, they've estimated 1.26 million T-shares. I think it'll be less than that. And of course, that's why we're going to be talking about B shares, billions of shares instead. And of course, the total payout there rising, this inflation rising 127 million, because a lot of it gets deferred, right? So it's pretty cool. And then so they've got, this is the bottom line. If you've got T-shares, they've got it coming out at 5.9, which is currently, around about that at the moment, with penalties on top. Then they got that rising all the way up. So by the time you get to 2025, you're talking about 7.9. I think that'll be actually higher by the time we get there, like I say, because I think we're going to get some early in stake 50%. So put some huge bags in that, and it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be a function of price. If price goes up, US dollar value increases. So I think that's definitely going to be a major player in the T-shares burning and accelerate this beautiful curve. These are very good predictions, but that's what I think is going to happen there. Also, some of the inflation, of course, as I always say, is actually in the origin accounts, because they've got something like 10% of the staked amount now, give or take a couple percent. And that inflation is not even going to come to market if the behavior is always the same. In other words, the Hex is never sold. That's actually shading down the inflation already. But they pointed out in their slide that inflation was pretty low, 1 point something percent. Rather than 3.69%. So, and I definitely think some of that's even shaded as well, because it goes to the origin account. So some pretty interesting stuff happening there. And yeah, it's going all the way up. But you can see by the time we get to 3035, they've got 1.26 million T-shares, 127 million daily payout, and the daily payout per T-share, 93 Hex per T-share. So that's why I say, if you're a long-term staker with your T-shares, man, oh man, you're going to be laughing yourself silly. And those are the people that are staking in the last couple of years, but also now that in the future will have all the T-shares. So pretty amazing stuff. If you've staked 10, 15 years long, you'll be laughing yourself silly with these awesome payouts, and particularly if you're staked out right at the end you'll be laughing yourself silly with that. So nice. People in the future will be getting B shares because it would be very difficult to afford. And the other thing, of course, is the amount of Hex actually in Uniswap at the moment. I think last time we looked, was at 140 million. You divide that by 20,200 Hex per T share. You're only getting, there's only potentially, even if you sold all that stuff, about 7,000 T shares, and that's a nothing burger, right? We got 10.6 million. We get that unstaking and adding easy peasy on any day. And so, particularly with all the OGs still around, that's some crazy stuff. So you'd have to sell the whole thing down. Of course, you couldn't do that without squaring the price up there with the US dollar buy. But it's just a crazy number that the T shares are the main game. It's going to get really real. I just want to point that out because I thought that was the highlight for me. The T share table. Let me know what you think in the chat there. Of course, very cool. Hey, we've got a couple of comments there before we get into PulseX. Let's go. And I'm going to refresh this on the numbers and let us go here with this. So 404.3 million USD on the ETH chain. We can add and say another 15 there. We are very close to 420 million sacrificed at the moment. I would say that's probably pretty much where we're at, 420 million. That's really outstanding stuff there. We've only got 2 days and 16 hours to go before the rate increases by 5%. So it's 2 days and 16 hours. And of course, that's 10,000 points per $1 at the moment. And then, of course, the volume multiplier on top of that, based on how much USD you sacrifice versus everybody else. And remember, that's the sacrifice, if you're not using a stable coin, it's based on the value within a half-hour period based on a time-weighted average price. So that's how that will work if you're sacrificing non-stable coins like USDC, USDT. So you're sacrificing Hex or Uni token or Link or something like that. That's what will happen there. So you can see that we're advancing. We're pretty much around this mark here. And of course, after that's only getting more expensive. By the time we get to the end of the 25th, it's going to be $9.90 per 10,000 points. So you're going to be paying, close to 10x higher. So definitely better to get in early rather than generally speculating on the price. Of course, I do expect, I am personally expecting a rally, but that's kind of with the Pulsechain rally and with the TA and the chart looks pretty good too. But yeah, it's going to be pretty neat. I'm expecting probably at least 2 or 3 price rallies in Hex this year as well. Now we are keeping a tabs of the macro issues. The macro issues are the Fed Reserve in the United States, obviously looking to reduce money buybacks in the market, so reduce the amount of money printing in society, and also looking at getting a bit more what they call hawkish on interest rate rises. But they are kind of trapped, and they kind of feel like they're kind of bluffing because they're really trapped between those two things. If they do it, I think they're actually going to not really deal with inflation because it's quite a blunt instrument. They'll actually start to really hammer the US economy. And so that's going to be interesting for that sort of play. That's going to impact assets, of course, and speculative assets in particular. But the good thing I like about Hex, obviously, is in USDC. The other thing, of course, we've got Pulsechain launching, and we've also got PulseX launching. So I think those are some pretty awesome fundamentals in for March. But it's just something we've got to keep in the back of our minds and keep a tab on how that actually impacts the market. Obviously, stock markets are most vulnerable, in my view. General crypto is pretty vulnerable. We've seen that already with the markets pull back on that. So, but it's definitely something we have to keep on, keep out there as well. Keep on tabs on that. But it's really awesome to be 85% plus in USDC on Hex, and of course with the driving growth that the community is experiencing, particularly if we go viral, particularly with all the billionaires and all that play, getting them locked in over this next short period, very important for that as well. So yeah, feeling pretty good about that generally. All right, let's have a quick look at the actual sacrifice. If you haven't sacrificed yet, so we've got pulsex.info. That's all these links are in the video description, so if you want to check that out, PulseX.info. This is where you sacrifice. Just follow the instructions. But generally speaking, if you're doing Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Matic, Avalanche, or Ethereum Classic, basically all Ethereum compatible chains, then you can sacrifice to this one address where everyone is sending their, or just most people are sending their sacrifice to, which is OX075, and that's a DD8C8. Now, when we look at the Pulsechain balances on here, it's only looking at the ETH chain, so it doesn't actually include the Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Matic stuff. So if you do sacrifice to this address, you probably won't see your address there because it's not on the ETH chain. So take that into account. Now, if you're sacrificing to other chains like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Dogecoin, all these other ones, then you need to follow the instructions at the bottom there. Just follow it very carefully. And if you're a little bit nervous, just send a little bit of a sacrifice, depending on the chain that you're on, and then you can test it out and see that it's all gone through. But you can also paste your Ethereum address there to get it tagged as well, so not too bad. All right, so very, very cool. Let's jump over to pulse leads.x.leads, and I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to get in the chat first, though, before we start breaking down the results at the moment. This is the live results. We're also going to talk about day number 8 results as well, so we'll get into that as well. So nice. All right, let's get into house there. We've got Hex listed on 8 on CoinMarketCap. Says Graham, are you serious? Has that tried to avoid? Are they trying to avoid the the court case that's on them at the moment? Maybe it just popped up. I'll check that out there, Graham. Let me have a look. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's. Coin market cap. So I don't actually use Coin Market Cap. So if that happened, that's pretty cool. Oh wow, wow. Okay, wow. Let's see how long it stays there. Wow, wow, wow. 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 Okay. If it can stay there, that's huge. Because remember, there's a court case after these guys. So let's see how we go with that. I know that they were about to step it up based on that. So wow. Okay. Wow. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Let's get some listening. That's pretty huge. Nice on that. And let me just turn the lights off. Turn the lights down. Let's turn the lights down low, get the mood in. But here we are. Wow, really? Okay, so well, they got the result. They got circulating supply at 173 million, the volume at 18 million, and the market cap at 39 billion at the moment. Okay, well, that's great. Wow. Okay, let's see if it stays there. Hey, super hats off to you, Graham. Thanks for the heads up on that for sure. Wow, that's pretty cool. Dr. says, can we compare the last 7 days with the beginning of the Pulse Sacrifice phase in the charts? The last 7 days with the beginning of the Pulsechain in the charts. Yeah, we guess we could have a look at that a bit later, Dr. Sergio. LOL, CMC awakening to X. That's a really big deal. Obviously, the big deal about this is that we're at number 8, and a lot of crypto index funds will most likely have to review Hex and then add it into their investing pool, is the way I would see that. So that could bring in some new buying demand. Obviously, they have to go to Uniswap to get most of it, but wow, okay, that's dramatic. That's going to be really interesting. That's a super pumpamental. So yeah, very, very cool. And let's see whether Richard Hart's put that in his Twitter. They haven't pulled up Richard Hart because he didn't have any tweets that I want to particularly talk about at the moment. But that would be pretty cool. Let's go back to there, and that's yeah, if we can stay there, if that's going to stay there. Could be a glitch, of course, these people, but they've already been on there before. But that'd be pretty neat to see that. Let me have a look here. Right, so yeah, we've got a couple updates here rounding the sacrifice 43 minutes ago. Adoption in cryptocurrency is a funny thing. I see 20s. Chainlink user sacrificed Hex, then layer 1 chains. So obviously there's been some Twitter storms going out. Seems to be quite effective on these community sacrificing, so that seems to be working with the Twitter storms. You can all get involved in that, of course. BTC 0 was a clickbait title, not a command. Did you know you don't have to sell a whole Bitcoin? And it's all PulseX.com. Sacrifices dumping it, says Richard. That's funny. That was someone said that in the chat, right? How long will Hex.com be on the front page of CoinMarketCap this time? My guess 15 minutes, says Richard. So yeah, we'll see whether that stays on there, man. If it could stay on there, that'd be something special. That's for sure. So there we are. Big hats off. So nice. All right. Matt says, will you be doing a live stream on Sunday? As I may miss tomorrow's stream. Yeah, I'll be doing a live stream there, Matt. Pretty much every day while the sacrifice is on, particularly. So good to see you anyway, Matt. And Refine says, CoinMarketCap, yeah. Lenny says, looking good today. Again today, yeah, I think so too. So let me jump back to there, and that's what we're at. We're going to go through the details, of course. Hey, welcome everybody. Of course, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We just hit over 2,400 today, and subscribers are heading on towards 2,500. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Dr. Success says Hex at CoinMarketCap front page. Yeah, Fantastic. And g'day, Hex Token, says Lenny. Hey, g'day to see you, Lenny, in the house. And Dr. Sergio's insane. Woohoo, says CryptoPay. First says Brazology, nice one. I just put a little more into the sacrifice at 23 cents. Nice. Yeah, that's a good. I thought some people might do that. Well done, Brazology. Woohoo! Yeah, that's right. I forgot to. I don't even think I did my woohoo today. So if I didn't, I apologize. Dr. Sergio says it is possible to cancel staking earlier. If yes, how does it affect the payout? Yes, it can. You can use the staker app. That's in the video link. If you want to put your ETH address in there, and you can see what the penalty amount will be. You won't see that in the in stake button. Just have a big warning come up to go, don't do it. But I'd be very careful about staking that. If you've got a big payday as well, if a big payday is sitting in your stake, take that interest into account. But staker app can give you a good indication there. Very cool. And HexPulse dude says, bring it on. Love catching you live, bro. Big news with CoinMarketCap, and now we are real. Also means they may also list Pulse and PulseX. Yeah, I'd look at the other way. I wouldn't say now we are real. I'd say we're so real that the community is growing so big and so fast that they can't ignore us. Eventually, they can't ignore us. Now, if they way of them putting us back up there, of course, is avoiding the court case. That would take a lot of pain off them. Apparently, they're going to be personally served. They're getting a team to hunt down I guess the directors personally served them for that. So it's an easy way of just getting rid of the problem in the case. So yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, Pulse and PulseX may list as well. That's true. It's definitely positive. They're going to be very difficult to ignore Pulse and PulseX. It's going to be pretty hard to ignore it. That's the thing. Sometimes it's better to be off the market for 3 years and you just keep building. Very few projects can achieve that, and obviously Hex has done the best at it. Fatal Fury says, imagine the exposure when noobs see that everything is red and maybe Hex is green. Absolutely, Fatal Fury, you're onto it. Wow, CoinMarketCap, not thought I'd see the day. Woohoo! You. Yes, says James. Yeah, that's right. And I liked it. And Doc says, is it even possible that PulseX can go 100x because we have such large capital at the beginning? Can't imagine this price. Yeah, well, I don't worry too much about the capital. It's really about the circulating supply and demand being more than supply, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about that, Doc Sergio. Hex Token Superman, haven't sacked yet. Hoping it will pump in the last 10 days until 10-day sacrifice. Do you think it may get to 30 cents? Well, I'm expecting to go higher during that phase up through February. You're saying until day 10? Let me double check. 10 days until the 10-day. There's only 2 days and about 15 hours left. 2 days, 16 hours. So if we do something, I think we might get to 28 cents. We're certainly looking better today than we were. But as Brazology said, it's sacrificed at 23 cents, which is not too bad a price today. But hey, we've got the time. We've got the time for a rise, and if it does, I think that 28 cents is kind of the target at this stage that we might get to. I mean, look, we get some big green candles. Could get. I'm expecting the last day to actually have a big sacrifice day, so we could actually get a lot of market buying rather than people using their liquid in their wallets. That's really the only offset. Obviously, if there's a Hex OG wanting to ruin the parade, that's got the number of Hex to sell, they take on a lot of risk though. That they might get locked out of the market if they do that. Time is ticking for them as well playing that game. But they could keep playing it if they've got it, if there's enough out there. But, we'll see. Definitely, I'm a bit more optimistic than I am pessimistic about that. Let's put it that way. Definitely see the 28 cents is still possible. There'll be a lot of Hex sacrificed if it does get to that mark. I think there's a lot of people holding the Hex off, hoping for that too. So you won't be alone. Expecting a big day on the 9th there to sacrifice. Hungarian says if you click on Hex, it's still ranked at 201. Let's have a look here and let's refresh this. Yeah, so it might just be a blip in the coin market. It's gone. Yeah, it's gone already. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Boy, there's such a weird bunch of people at this CoinGecko, man. Seriously, make up your minds. It's just probably just some sort of algo thing, some sort of something weird, something that's triggered it, something that triggers it. So it's gone. Sorry, everybody. Oh, that would have been really cool though. Nice. But once again, I come back to the fact that that would accelerate us because obviously indexes invest in the top 10 and other things like that. People see it as well, but a lot more people are using a lot of other indexes like CoinGecko, Nomics, and a whole ton of other ones. So let's not. We just keep going. We just keep pushing out, and the biggest community wins in the end, and that's what's happening. The most vibrant, winning community is going to happen. So nice. And of course, Pulsechain and PulseX are going to change that. So regardless of what CoinGecko is, nothing compared to what Pulsechain and PulseX are going to do for Hex and for the whole ecosystem. So I wouldn't be worried too much. Jamie says, hello, legend. Hey, Jamie, good to see you in the house. And yep, well said, bro. And he says, you're most welcome. And hey, Hex Token going in from New Zealand. Nice. I like that. Brazil says 28 cents was my target to second. Says Brazil, yeah. So I think we're still looking optimistic for that. The green candle today was very positive from the price line. So like I said, the 9th will be FOMO day. People will be, that amount on the 9th is going to be pretty big relative to what we've had the last couple of days, which has been really good results, right? So we're going to check that out in a shortly, though. Let's get through some of these comments. Matt says on some PulseX Telegram group, some people are commenting that already there will be trillions of coins. I know that will be burning them for transactions, but is trillion an issue? No, because a lot of the trillions will be with the Origin account, no doubt, when it goes in. But at this stage, we're probably going to be pretty similar to Pulsechain at this stage based on the US dollar amount. But I think there's a reasonable chance we may go above that. So we could end up with if Pulsechain is going to have 135 to 150 trillion, we could be in that ballpark somewhere. Is probably the case. But remember, a lot of it's with the Origin account, and so they're really kind of off the market. It's kind of used for financial operations kind of thing, moving around. So yeah, we'll see. The Hex Pulse Dude says, do you think we should wait until the rises have about 200,000 Hex Sac, waiting for a big pump to put in 28 cents, go all in? Yeah, so I don't want to, I can't give you financial advice, obviously, but like I said, I'm feeling a bit better that the price will go higher from here. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I can't really say anything, if you know what I mean. It's like ultimately your decision on that. So yeah. I'm still waiting to do some more sacrifice. So I'm waiting for the price to go higher. There's a lot of people out there doing that. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say for that. But the chart is looking, the chart's looking not too bad today. 22.5 cents has come off the bottom there. It was down at 20.9. So, and yesterday was pretty, 17.6 yesterday. So we'll see what happens there. All right, India says, is it possible to sacrifice some tokens on Ethereum and network and then some more on a BSC? The other side, HexPulse, there's a bit of DCA, good DCA in a little bit there in the next day or two. Maybe something you might want to think about. I like to think of a US dollar target. That's kind of where I put my head as opposed to the Hex target, because I know that Hex is still going to do, I'm expecting a rally in Hex, so I'm sort of double-minded a little bit about that. The other part of it is, of course, that you're going to get a copy on Pulsechain. And so, yeah, and I know there's a lot of buying demand going to come into the space. Like I said, it's actually not that much Hex on sale, generally speaking. So if the buy demand comes in, could get a massive price rise on that when the price goes. So, and then, of course, you can always filter some of that back in to PulseX and Pulse after the volatility on the open. I'm expecting that. So, I'm thinking about a lot of those things too. As well. Indioza says, is it possible to sacrifice some tokens on Ethereum network and then some more on BSC and then total dollar amount will be combined? Yes, that's correct, Indioza. Just make sure it's from the same wallet. Brazil says, I still see it on mine, says Briolzi. Nice. And Jason says, still there for me. Cool. And Hex is still there. Oh, do you? Okay, let me refresh, folks. Let me refresh it. Maybe it's back. Just disappeared off my... oh, there it is. It's back again. That's back again. Okay, that's weird. Eh? How weird was that? Okay, so it's still there, folks. Still there. Yay! We're back to party time again. All right, from yay to say to yay. So we're back. All right, so very cool. All right, so looking good there. Let's see if we can stay there. Come on. All right, so nice. And you said that it's, I'll click on it. You said it was still ranked 201. Yeah, still got ranked 201 on there, on the left there. So that is true. All right, we'll see how it goes. Let's go back to the main page. Still on the main page, but still ranked 201, so that's a bit fishy. We'll definitely watch it within the next few hours or 24 hours or something. Nice. And the Fatal Fury says, maybe CMC is playing games to click on their crappy site, yeah? And Matty says, let's all email CMC and tell them there's an issue with their ranking. Yeah, that's a good way. We should do a storm on their maybe their Twitter on the coin market cap. What was the difference in sac amounts from yesterday? We're going to get into that DHexkin, and hey, we've got some little spam there. I don't know whether someone's got rid of that. Let's get into the results here. So what have we got? Have to ban that one. I've got no moderators in today. That's unusual. Let me have a look here. All right, so that's just getting rid of that person there, and nice. All right, so yeah, good morning, Hexkins from Turkey. Hey, Pro Hexer, good to see you. And Francia's in the house. Hello, Francia, great to see you as well. Hello, hello, hello. And in fact, is that a massive inverse head and shoulder? Can you do a measurement? And Fatal said, yeah, probably won't comment on that at the moment, Fatal. Let's Lenny Hextree says, I'm seeing Hex 8 on market cap. You are correct. And woohoo, says Brazology. Hexagon says, must be being served that got them freaking out. I can help with moderation, says Brazology. Yeah, so well, I normally have plenty of moderators in there. I had moderator day the other day, and there we are, Brazology. Add you as the moderator there. And cool. We've got Mix of it says sacrifice one day. Now all set for liquid loans. Nice one. Day one, I think you mean their Mix. Yeah, nice one. And set for liquid loans. Yeah, I have been starting to investigate liquid loans a bit more. But like I said, I am a bit of a RH maxi. So yeah, very cool. All right, so we've got the poll in the house. 19 votes so far. And let's see what that's like at the end of the live stream. What HexPo conference day one show did you enjoy the most? So we'll find out what that is. Yeah, Brazoli says, nice one. Brazoli says, what's it? I got to laugh at that. That's pretty funny. Let me get back. I've lost my studio. I will use this great power with great responsibility. I love it. All right, cool one. All right, so no monitors, resulting no secret flicking monitors on or whatever for debates. All right, so let's get into the results. We're going to get straight into actual results, and then we're going to look at the day 8 close results. So we'll get into that now. Sorry about the delay in that, folks. I probably should put a timestamp on these videos. I put them on all my daily videos. I need to probably put it on the live stream once in case I start gas bagging about something, maybe like CoinMarketCap listing. All right, so let's refresh this, and we are climbing. Let us see. 404.6, so plus another 15, say, you were definitely closing on 420 million. That is pretty outstanding. Very cool. All right, so let's have a look at the top 100 at the moment. We have got obviously the Hex Godwell at the top. We almost got this third account in. This is almost at 10 million. So remember, we had 5 on Pulsechain sacrifice over 10 million. It looks like we almost got 3 in the 10 million bunch. Very, very cool. Let's see what to be. Get in the top 100. You need to sacrifice $418,500 to get in the top 100 on the ETH chain. So this doesn't include Bitcoin and other ones like that. This is very cool. So 418 point top 100. That's some really cool economic energy, folks. Look at all that. Pretty amazing. What the other thing we look, of course, is how many millionaires we got. I think we had 40 yesterday. Let me just get in. I think we had 40 yesterday. All right, so we're up to 46. We've added 6 new millionaires to the list. Very, very cool. I'm going to do a hang loose or whatever. That's pretty cool on that one. So we've added 6 more. We're up to 45 millionaires. Remember, Pulsechain had about 75, somewhere in that mark. And it's very cool. We're tracking well on that. So nice on there. Let's check the top 500. That's how we roll. And we'll give it a second to update. Yeah, we're at about 420 million total sacrifice. Very, very cool result. And the top 500, you need 92,000, over 92,529 to get in the top 500, which is a pretty decent bag of money, right? So nice. Let's get into top 1,000. Check that out and wait for that to update. We're going to get in there. Come on. And the top 1,000. So if you want to get in the top 1,000, hey, I just noticed something's changed on here. I'm going to have to do a refresh on that. We've got 47,246 is to get in the top 1,000. You need $47,246 or more to get on there. And I just noticed some of the buttons have gone at the bottom. I'm not sure why that's happened there. Let me double check that when I'm going to refresh that just to make sure we had the total numbers down there. Plus, we'll just wait for that to happen. So top 5,000. Here we go. And I think that's updated. So we're going to all debate back there. So top 5,000, you need $8,570 to get in the top 5,000. And that's a pretty decent sacrifice. But I said to you, even though we look at these rankings, this is kind of for the volume multiplier, gives you kind of an idea between 1 and 2.5. There's two components to the sacrifice, getting PulseX, and that is the amount of points you get for every dollar, and of course the second one is the volume multiplier, what your US dollar ranking is versus everybody else. This kind of gives just a general guide to what that is. So cool. 8,600 on the 5,000 there, and of course the all button is another one too. So we're going to go all and see with that update as well. So very cool. So if you've done a certain amount of USD, you can sort of see where you're going to rank compared to that on a total. I'm not sure where the total button's gone. Maybe it's because I need a bit more space here. I've got to wait for that. It's overdrive. And we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We're at 38,161. That's terrific. So we're up typically we're climbing about 2,500 a day, more or less. Maybe 2,000 today, but a bit lower than yesterday, possibly. And of course, Pulsechain sacrifice did 41,200, somewhere around that mark. So we're not far away from Pulsechain total wallets on the ETH chain. So not bad at all. Very cool. Now it seems to have changed a little bit. I'm not sure whether that's something I've done or not, but anyway, let's go top 100 and refresh that. So those are the results today. For those are live results, and very cool. I'm going to refresh that one more time and see that as well. And let me just push this down and bring up my studio again. All right, so Matt and Barley says, don't forget to smash the like button. Yeah, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We hit 2,400 subscribers this morning, my time, and of course, heading up towards 2,500. It's kind of a cool milestone, but then 3 is the real kicker. Getting over 3, that's kind of cool. That's kind of, yeah, you've done a pretty good job if you get over 3. That's kind of the way I see it. Anyway, says Brazil says, I bet everyone in the top 100, 200 is a millionaire. No way someone is going to dump their entire life savings into a sacrifice. Yeah, that's a very good insight, Brazology, is the fact that if they're doing that sort of amount, that's only a certain percentage of what their wealth is. And of course, they'll have some dry powder possibly. They may have a bigger play. I think quite a few players for Pulsechain will have a bigger play. Big giant whales will be interested in getting a strong market share into that at the beginning. And of course, I think a lot of the bigger, slightly more riskier players with some big bags will be after the PulseX as well, and particularly if they understand, even if some of the bigger players understand the size of the buy and burn and the volume turnover potential for PulseX, their risk appetite is the other side of it that they may take, even though it's kind of a huge logical proposition. So very cool on that. All right, so nice on that. Let's jump over to the stats. Stats is pretty cool, and it shows you that Hex is just under 60% of all sacrifice. Still Hex. Ethereum is at 25%, USDC at 8.87, USDT at 3.5. I've added even these other ones I've got on here now, going all the way down to small boxes. So pretty cool on that. DAI at 0.63%. So nice. Let's jump on the leaderboard. Actually, what was that? I think we had a scaling. Is that a scaling button? Yeah, it's a big scaling button on there now. Okay, that's pretty cool. They got anything else on there? Sometimes they add a new feature. Never know. Let's go back to the leaderboard. We just actually had the developer in here a couple of days ago, Game System 10 at the bottom. So if you do want to donate, feel free to donate at the top button there. This is all free, of course. Let's have a look at the comprehensive breakdown. And of course, we've got Hex at 242 million, ETH at 101 million. Woohoo! We even crossed over 100 million on ETH, so that's really awesome stuff. And of course, we're almost at quarter of a billion on Hex itself. And of course, that's going to move around as well. So cool, 35,900 on USDC, 14,000 on USDT, and DAI 2.5 million there. Sorry, I did the thousands again. I meant 35.9 million, 14 million on USDC, and 2.5 million on DAI. Hate it when you do that, when you suddenly jump from thousands to millions in your head. So that's crazy stuff. Let's have a look at the amount of Hex, 888 million. Woo! Bring on a billion, man. Bring on a billion. I think we're gonna hit a billion by the 9th, quite easy. I'm feeling very confident about that. We're going to go over there, and of course, I wanted to go up and up and up. Remember, this is so important. We had the Pulsechain sacrifice. We got the PulseX sacrifice, getting that hex off the market on Ethereum. Also, we'll get it off Pulsechain, reducing the circulating supply. And of course, who knows what we could get it into. I'm looking forward to Gunther, the accountant's show. That's coming up on Hex Conference. And where is that? That's coming up. I'm pretty sure that was on here. Somewhere here. Somewhere. I'm pretty sure that's on there somewhere, but I'll have to double think about whether it is. I think it's on here on these ones here. So I'll find that. I can't remember where it is. So that's just the way it is. All right. So very, very cool. 888 million hex, man. I mean, that's so good. And there's no doubt a bit there on Polygon as well, because there's about 6.9 million hex on Polygon. So very, very cool. And yeah, heading towards 1 billion. That's fantastic, man. I'm just mind blown about that. Yeah, so we're going to get that circulating supply down, ideally under 4%, then keep getting it down underneath that. 2.5% be major, because that's so little supply walking around. When if you get building up the demand side, as we're looking to, virality for retail, billionaires in the play, funding gym and stuff, people like that working on that aspect, and of course investment vehicles as well. Kinetics and their team working on stuff like that. So you're getting the holy grail, big army of demand coming and shrinking supply, and that's the key, is getting that circulating supply down. Very cool. And of course, you want more people staking. Like I talk about the fact that if you're a T-share holder, there's 10.6 million T-shares, and that's super exciting. But in some ways, you also want you want to get that virality, and you want to get more people staking as well. It's kind of a kind of thing. You definitely want more people to growth. I don't mind if we saw a bit of a rise in that T-share rate, and then moving down, because in the future, of course, we're going to have the Origin account. Those stakes mature over time as well. So it's kind of how the financial operator, a feature benefit in the system, is that Origin account as well. So nice. So yeah, looking really good, man. Oh man, I'm excited about that. I had to stay on that point for a while. So that, folks, is the live results at the moment. We're going to come back to those, but let's have a look at the daily results. So yesterday we were at 363, and let's have a look where we're at the moment. So this is from these days don't align exactly with the sacrifice amount time left. They align with when Richard launched. And of course, the snapshots 24 hours, more or less, on 24 hours after each other. So they are a pretty good approximation for the results. So yeah, we're at 363. We're at about 391 when we did the snapshot for day number 8. So very, very cool. And we're in day 9 now. So let's just go we'll plug those numbers in. 391 plugged in for day number 8. And of course, the change in the sacrifice, 28 million approximately from the day before. So very, very cool. That compares to Pulsechain, which was 21 million. And of course, that means we're 6.8 million above Pulsechain for the same day. But remember, the structure was different. We had a 5-day, 10,000 points for $1 for Pulsechain, as opposed to having about 11 days for PulseX Sacrifice. So remember, the structure gamification is different, and of course that means that we're at 32% above the Pulsechain one. So pretty good day in the office as well. So let's have a look at the charts just to see that visually. And of course you can see Pulsechain in purple over time, all the way up to the final one, 670. And remember, our total was something like 735, 750. So pretty much close to $750 million before the Origin account went and sacrificed 13 so billion in there as well. So very, very cool. And I think we ended up with just over 14 billion, something like that, with that. So cool. And here is in pink is the PulseX Sacrifice so far, and so we're tracking very cool. And we could we do super well. We could end up converging on there, and that'd be pretty nice to see that. And we've got plenty of time. I've got day 8, 9 here, but we've definitely got time to do that. So nice. I got it on days here rather than the date. Just take that into account. So cool. And you're tracking ahead, pretty cool. And we'll look at it on the daily change. Daily change, definitely the last 3 days we bet the Pulsechain one, approximately speaking. And then of course we couldn't beat them on day 5 because that was the final day, the final 5 days. And of course the massive sacrifice on that day was the case we want to get in. So we're expecting to see something like this, of course, on the 9th. Expecting may not be this big, but it might be. And if it's not people just sacrificing from their liquid bags, people will maybe buying on the market, and that's what we want to see. That would definitely help get that buyer demand in there. people following in on that last day before the 5% increases, and so quite a few people will be holding out for that promise. The other strategy, of course, is DCAing in, but definitely getting in some of your bags. If you've got a US target, getting some of your bags in before the 9th. Otherwise, you're then speculating on the price outdoing the price of Hex outdoing the 5% increase, which is compounded day after day after day. It really does take a penalty on that, and yeah. So that's pretty much that at the moment. And of course, if we do get Pulsechain launching, you're talking about maybe early March, the 4th of March at the earliest, because we have the sacrifice running through the 25th. And of course, that leaves a bit of a gap there to maybe, I don't know, do the fork and a fork block to do the setups, the gamification, depending on how Richard plays that out. So we'll find out, but definitely gives us plenty of chance, because Pulsechain, the fork is a big pump amount, because that's where the airdrop's going to come from. So I'm expecting a price rise for that anyway. Just the time frame that happens over. The other thing, of course, Pulsechain will get lost, and the more confidence that Richard signals to the market, the more likely that fundamental price is going to start rising just from that. But sometimes the market won't even move; it'll just keep going up anyway. And we saw that with the Pulsechain one. I think I've got that over here, so we'll get to that in a short amount of time. But yeah, not too bad at the moment. 22.5 cents, not too bad. All right, so let's jump. That is the daily results for today. So I hope you enjoyed that. Day 8, and we're in day 9. So we'll come back to that. Now, I just wanted to come back. This is really for new people rather than all the pros out there. Is that you know, this is what Richard's building. Richard's building this, and of course the bridge is fundamental, and all that, of course, with the bring out a bridge over the ETH and ERC20s, likely a couple of days after. Typically 2 days is what's used to bridge over, and of course pull that with all the PRC20 and the PulseX and stuff, and so that's a big pumpamental there. So we're looking for. Other than that, the other big thing, of course, it's deflationary tokenomics, and of course the big engine is PulseX swap, and of course all the transactions on Pulsechain. So we saw yesterday, we looked in the video about Ethereum doing about 1.2 million transactions per day, approximately, give or take. And of course, man, if we could see a certain amount of that, would be pretty cool. Obviously, the price is going to be pretty cheap, so the total revenue earned relatively cheaper with the buy and burn. But PulseX doesn't have that problem, and so that's why I think PulseX is going to really take off. A lot of volatility in the first day or two. We've got to expect that, because we're just going to have ratios before the bridge comes in, and of course the stable coins also are an issue, seeing those firm up as well. So it's going to be crazy, and everything's launching at once, so it's going to be amazing time. But just be careful switching your ratios, swapping your tokens, because you could end up on the bad side of that. That's the only thing, because it's going to be probably no clear US dollar comparison there until things settle a little bit. So sometimes the best strategy is just to wait. And of course, if there is a big price rise at some stage and a big pullback, then if you've got some dry powder, maybe the bridge is open, you're able to pull it over with the bridge, that you can pick up some really cool opportunities. And so that's definitely something I think you should have in your quiver, or whatever, in your quiver, something like that. So nice. All right, your toolbox is probably a better way, easier way to say it, and that in your toolbox, because there's definitely going to be opportunities for getting stuff at that time for the long play. And of course, the long plays, we're going to get the big X's. We're going to see a lot of people, as I say, probably get out after 2x or 3x or whatever. And of course, they're going to miss the 100x, potentially the big X's, the 1,000, the 10,000, the 14,000 X, depending on what's in. So just a bit like Hex, staking in Hex. Stakers pretty much win over the long term. It's all the traders that get wrecked. Some of them make good profits, but most of them get wrecked because they sell low and they buy high and all that sort of stuff. So very, very cool. All right, and don't forget, we've got a lot of stuff happening in the roadmap coming up as well, and so I'll just quickly talk about that. So on top of Richard Hart building out this awesome, superior ecosystem, and of course, don't forget that everyone's getting airdrop on here, so you've got mass adoption going to happen fast, and you're talking about millions, potentially millions of users fast. So even though we've got some big telegrams, all that stuff's pretty big, once people find out they've got these free airdrops, it's basically Ethereum but better, they're all going to come in, and the yield farming, of course, is the ultimate incentive as well. It's going to be pretty mad crazy for sure. And let's have a look here. We've got so we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Coin ranking site for PRC20, something like that. Probably end up having stuff around that. We're going to probably need that given the gatekeeping. Let's just check the check the coin coin market cap to see, make sure that's on there. Yeah, it's still on there. So Hex is still on there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So Nice to see that. All right, so Hex is still there. Let's see if it can survive 24 hours in the furnace. All right, so nice. And we've got other stuff, potentially Rich is looking at a MetaMask replacement. Cross-chain, of course. We're going to definitely need a lot of cross-chain stuff, a lot more bridges, and hopefully a lot of market solutions will come with that. That's not necessarily Richard, but other suppliers, doing that. So we've already got a lot of projects already building, testing on Pulsechain, but it's going to be great having a lot more bridges, all that vibrancy, that cross-chain is just the future of crypto. So very cool. And what else? Possibly Uniswap version 3 in 2023, stuff like that. Stable coins, exchanges, of course, better aggregators, other stuff that Rich is particularly looking at, and even margin trading. So something that could be down the road as supplement. That's all be supplements, added values onto this main core build out that we're doing at the moment. And of course, we're all early, going to be part of this, going to be super duper awesome. I just had to cover that pretty quickly on that. Let's have a look at the roadmap, of course. And what do we got going here? So we're in a Pulsechain testnet 2.0, and let's have a look at that quickly. We're on day number 26. Day number 26 on the Pulsechain testnet 2.0. Pulsechain testnet 1.0 was 77 days long, so we're up to 26. I've got it here going to mid-January. We'll see how accurate that is. It's got a question mark, and then Pulsechain testnet 3.0. So the main thing on testnet 2.0 is the validators, and of course they're testing the other stuff too. But the validators, the main one, get right because that's kind of the added code to the Ethereum system stake. Fork or whatever copy of the code, so it's pretty important. And remember, the other side of it, of course, with the code, they've actually kept a lot of the latest upgrades in Ethereum, that the ones that they liked, compared to the Binance Smart Chain, which has missed out a lot of those things when they did an empty fork. So some pretty superior stuff there. Potentially, of course, the code is going to be somewhere up to, it's got 4 times faster, could be up to 200 times faster with the data packs and stuff like that in the block. So could be pretty cool. The other thing, of course, is Pulsechain testnet 3.0. That could be starting, let's say, mid-January, which is where I've got it as a placeholder. There could be another testnet with balances written. That's the distribution from the Pulsechain. And, of course, the AMM bot run, which is the big deal. Having that tested out, run the AMM bot test before go live. Obviously, you want that all to be working pretty cool as well. And then, of course, that will be with PulseX as well. So expect some pretty key testing there. So you can sort of see why they need so much time to get it right. And then hopefully, if we're lucky, by the early March at the earliest, we could see the launch, because that would be after the PulseX as well. And then a snapshot block, I've got a question mark there somewhere in here potentially, but we'll wait for Richard to give us the word on that. Hex scale, of course, just ramping up. They'll be, probably from mid-January, really ramping it up. Apparently, Connect said yesterday, that we would get some, possibly some news maybe next week. So that's kind of fitting with the timeline I've been talking about, sort of mid-January. So that would be pretty cool. And then, of course, Funding Jim Billionaire Liaison is doing his thing. And, of course, he's going to be this weekend with Kiyosaki and many of those other big billionaires, I guess, as you would call them, doing some videos and stuff. Apparently, we're going to get some possibly some videos from that as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. Very excited about that. And I think I covered everything. HexPo conference is on at the moment, of course, and the HexPo one's coming up in March. Looking pretty cool to me. So hopefully that's cool. We've also got the fee and on ramps as well, and we talked about that as well in here. So looking for that to come in. And the bridge. Now, the only thing I've seen on the bridge so far, and let me know on the comments if you've seen anything else, is on Matty Allen's show with the lead dev, Ruth, on there talking about that. And it was quite a long video, so go through that on that. All right, so cool. And let's jump back to the Pulsechain, and let's go back to the leaderboard, and I'll get into some of the comments there. So look where we're at. So friends in the bar, Hex number 8 on Coinbase. Yeah, well, that'd be cool. Hopefully we're on Coinbase too. Yeah, well, that's why I'm hoping for us to get a full listing on Coinbase. I still think that's a reasonable thing in the pipeline, is especially after the Sense Foundation stuff work. It's got to be on their radar for sure. Might be one more person per address. And all right, nice one, Mix. And Quinn says, woohoo, let's go, absolutely. And what do you think you'd need to sacrifice to get, say, 1.5 multiplier? But well, we know 1.1 is 1.1 last time was about 7,000. At 1.2, I think, was about 20,000. So I don't know, you may be looking at 50K, something like that. That's a good question. I might pull it up for tomorrow. I'll pull up what the Pulsechain did for tomorrow. Probably a good idea. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And Molly says, always like, subscribe, turn on the bell, notifications for the latest news. Absolutely, Molly, you're onto it. And of course, Ahmed's in the house. Hello, hello. Good to see Ahmed. Woohoo! Smash the like button. It says Judah. Absolutely, I love it. Go Hex Pulse and Pulsechain. Brazil says, I don't know if the multipliers decreased by 10,000, but if so, you need to be in the top 20 to get a 1.5 multiplier. Yeah, it's pretty big. So I'm just thinking, you probably are actually over 100K now that I'm thinking about it after Brazil's comment. But definitely a 110 was about 7,000. 120 was about 1.2. But it does get a bit weird once you get up in the big US dollar values as you go higher, because they get the much higher multiplier, relatively speaking. So what else we got going there? Supply shock soon, says Ahmed. I think so. Are you talking about goods and services? Because that's definitely a shock in the world. But definitely it's going to be a hex supply shock, that's for sure. And once Pulsechain and PulseX are launched, remember it's total suppliers from the beginning, then only going to get deflated after that. And most of that I estimate will be in the origin account. So it's really what's in the public hands that's going to count. That's for sure. And Craig says volume too tiny. Crick says, I'd say right now with bearish price movements across the board on major crypto and stock markets, we ever believe in Hex bought already. Now the new money matters. Well, the community is actually growing a lot, but Pulsechain is going to help with that issue. So we've got social media's expanding pretty fast, and we've got billionaires coming into place. Like I said, we definitely want to get a lot of those people in the first quarter, and I think that's probably going to be pretty positive for that, Cyril. But I hear where you're coming from there, but Hex is a little different from the others. We sort of stand alone in that regards. There are always new people on board. 22 with a year of onboarding masses in crypto. Yeah, that's true. Crypto generally is just continuing to onboard people, but Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX are going to do some magical stuff, even with the rest of the market doing a big strong thing. Of course, is Hex. That's 85% in USDC. A lot of them are also the culture's hardcore. We still get a few of the OGs that like to sell down the price, but other than that, it's a pretty hardcore culture of stakers and people that want to do good in the world. And also, I think that plays a lot of strength in terms of people, even though it's in the USDC, not selling it down to buy other crypto. Where you make, if your USD gains are still high, there's the only down thing to the Hart's law is that maybe you go and buy Bitcoin if it's down at 10K or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Kind of that behavior. But it has to be tested really in the future. See how that plays. Quinton says, have you mentioned Hex is in the top 10 on market? Yeah, we have. We've done it. We've done it. Okay, let's refresh. I'm going to refresh again just to make sure it's still there because my eyes might deceive me. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's still number 8. Number 8. We're rocking that. Come on, price, go up. And then, of course, we could get above Cardano. We could get above Solana pretty easy. USDC, we could get past pretty easy. Then Binance Coin. That's kind of the next thing. That's where we'd get up to. Man, we'd be talk of a town. Once you get in the top 5, talk of the town. Top 10's cool. So let's see if we can stay there. We'll watch it very closely on that one. That's pretty funny. Friends of the Bar says, I said Coinbase, but I meant CMC. All good. Matt and Barley says, I sold Phantom and Matic at about 6 cents. Idiot move. Don't sell too soon, says Matt. If you're in early, that's a good lesson actually. Matt, it's a good lesson. That's why I said it, a lot of people try and sell out early for maybe 2x, but if you want to get the big X's, you got to stay the course. That's the way to go on that. Just suggestion, of course, not investment advice. But Dr. Sergio says, how much will it cost to bridge EHEX to PHEX? I heard this is not an exchange. How can it be explained? Well, I'm not sure what the cost is going to be. We'll also have to wait and see on that one. Dr. says, it will be 1-to-1. We'll have to wait and find out. Actually, I might go back and watch Ruth's video again. Maybe she talked about some stuff like that. Ahmed says, where do you think we can track the PLX chart after the mainnet live? Well, I think there will be on How to Pulse. We'll have probably on there. They've got a list, an index of the coin rankings. That's going to be one place, but I think there'll be a couple other PRC 20 places probably jump up there. Hey, Dinger Wolf's in the house. Hey, good to see you, Dinger Wolf. We're in the dark shades. That's ominous. And Katana TV's in the house. Always a pleasure, Katana TV, to see you. And we must still got to catch up on Discord there for a chat. So definitely going to happen. Surik says, has to be minted based on the current calculation. And could we have, like I said, I think we're going to have pretty similar at this stage. We're on track to have pretty similar to Pulsechain at this stage, 135, except we don't need a, yeah, we're probably pretty similar number actually, I'm thinking. So A says swap some PLS for PLS chain for the bridge or after if you are trying to get as close to 1-to-1 or better ratio. Well, my point is that the ratio is going to be really crazy on the open. Maybe it's going to be pretty risky. You could really get hurt on your percentages on swapping PLX and PLS. So I've changed my mind on that. I've kind of gone to the point where as I'm just going to leave my bags as they are. I was going to actually swap some for PLS, but I'm actually going to leave that now. The more I do the numbers on PLX, I'm going to want to get more PLX for the time being, and then I want to switch it later into PLS after it's calmed down a bit. Kind of where I'm heading. That's where I'm kind of thinking at the moment. HexPo says rolling with the gamble last day to get a boost with Hex rather than DCA. Ginger's crossed it, goes nuts on DCA 10. Let's go to the moon. Yeah. And EZ says, guys, just hold it 18 months to 2 years, 500X to 700X. A smart move there, EZ, with you on that one. Sorry, says, makes no sense that total supply is below 1 trillion. Yeah, I don't see it being that below 1 trillion. So yeah, worst 100X. Sarek says, but based on the reduction of sacrifice, now that I'm saying 100 trillion with the origin account. Sarek says, based on the reduction in sacrifice reward, if we reach $1 billion mark, I can't imagine the total supply has to be defined by of PLX. And Brazil says, I'm not whining, but imagine if all this money that went into PulseX had flown into Pulsechain on day one. Dang, what kind of X would that have been? Yeah, good point there, Brazolji. But the other side of it, of course, is that by doing the big airdrop on Ethereum, we're going to bring over all those users over when the bridge opens. That's kind of the kingpin, is the airdrop and yield farming matching that, and people bring their ERC20s over and stuff like that to yield farm. That's really the kingpin, isn't it? And potentially we could get millions of users over very fast. That's kind of where the big X's come in. Obviously, we've got a good base with the sacrifices, but you're quite right with the dollars. But imagine with all those users coming over, that's kind of the main event, right? That's the main event. If Bitcoin goes 100,000 this year, Hex moves to 2 digits, can be easy. That's true. All right, so nice. But that's the fact I like Hex being in USDC. I think that's a real strength. And of course, that's shown, I think, to be quite true so far. And of course, like I say, we've got a lot of potential. I keep going back to the timeline here because funding Jim stuff with the billionaires and people with hundreds of millions. Funding Jim's basically going to talk to anybody over 20 million. He's fantastic at doing this networking. And of course, he's not alone in there. I think there's 4 or 5 other big Hexican sharks that are in that as well. And so it's going pretty cool. Also, Hex scale is going to be mind-blowing. And if you hear Kinetics talk, he's super optimistic about that. So very exciting to see the big money coming in. And of course, the social media, I think we can all see that social media is expanding pretty fast for Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. So I think that's a no-brainer. Once those chains are live, as I said, with the biggest airdrop, everyone on Ethereum is going to be able to come over and get some free big airdrops. They're going to get there and then realize how amazing it is, super fast, super cheap, and with the incentives and tokenomics being superior, they're going to realize actually this is a place that I'm going to do most of my business. You'll find out pretty quickly. Once people start making some dosh, there'll be some crypto dosh. They'll be there to stay. It's just the logical place. Why would you go back to a place where you have to pay at any particular time $150 to do a transfer, or $100 to do, not $150 to do a transfer, but $50 to do a transfer, $150 to a swap, all that sort of crazy stuff. And ETH 2.0 may be a long way off, so and may not deliver the results that they're wanting. Obviously, we do want some benefits from ETH 2.0, definitely with the ETH Hex on ETH, but it's not going to be anything comparable to the speed and the fees that we'll get on Pulsechain. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. All right, so precisely says, yep, we are aiming for a large crowd. Yeah, that's kind of the main thing. I see that bridge with the ERC20s, the ETH coming over and onto a superior chain. And so, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Now, there are other chains out there, but the problem that they have is they don't have everything that that Pulsechain and PulseX has. That's the problem. So I think probably the biggest momentum side. You obviously got Polygon doing really well, but they don't have the big airdrop. You're not getting the big airdrop. You're not getting all the right deflation tokenomics, which is what's in there. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of the ultimate design in my view. And I've played on all those stuff, done all that stuff, and it really is seems like a no-brainer to me. And that's why I think even the Hex Godwell agrees, because the Hex Godwell is in like Flynn on this at the top. Didn't muck around with that as well. So, but also didn't push the price of Hex up either by doing a market buy with his Ethereum and then switching that Hex in, right? He used Ethereum to do it. So interesting play on that as well. You could have Hex Whale, but Hex Whale, you could have Hex Whale bot. Hex Whale, you could have done the old Hex buy, but that would have been a lot of ETH pumping in that price, right? 29 million bucks. So there we are. Wandad says, will you buy Pulse better by selling your Hex before or after fork? New. Well, I'm kind of a Hex maxi, so I like to hold on to my Hex, and like most Hex skins, it's it's staked, pretty staked for the most part. So for the most part, but I got some for sacrifice. Yeah. All right. So cool. Matt says, very excited about this project for 2022 and beyond. Yeah, I think so. I think it's the best opportunity out there for by a long shot, by a country mile. You can go for other stuff. It is quite speculative. Now, also, there's obviously third party stuff, that liquid loans. Everyone's talking about that. So I'm doing a bit more due diligence around that. And based on the way the code looks, if it's, I think it's audited. I haven't checked if it is audited yet, but everything else looks pretty good. All the features of it look like they line up to what I would expect. The other thing, of course, is just interacting with it with your wallets, that it doesn't do have unduly permissions like infinite spend or max unlimited spend and stuff like that. So there's the little things you have to look out for. Other than that, it looks great. The project team looks great. They all look good. And you just got to make sure all the security stuff lines up, and you can go for gold on that probably. Still speculative, of course, but it does look like everything's lining up there. I'm going to probably do a live stream on that after I've read a lot more and watched a lot more, and we'll cover that and get on there. And everybody else who's probably a lot way ahead on that one can get into the chat. We'll have a good chat about it. But the sacrifice is about to launch, I think, pretty imminent. So I think we should probably see the sacrifice for that launch pretty soon as well. So I'll probably definitely put a little bit into it if not just to have a go, but we'll see. Mick says liquid loan will pump Pulse and PulseX with the end goal being Hex. Yeah, I agree with that, Mick. That's the logic in it for sure. And Brazolji says, and other chains don't have an army of media like you're making great content. Yeah, I absolutely, Brazolji, you're right. That's what I said, that by being gatekept as well, it's kind of forced the community to grow itself. And as I always say, it's the best if you want to promote something that you think's amazing, then get out and promote it, because you're the best army. So a good point. These streams are so much more engaging than watching the Furos do their 10-minute daily updates. Hey, Brazil, appreciate that. Big shout out to you for that. And Luke Wild says, God, wow, couldn't have timed the sack of ETH better with the price drop. I know. I've been thinking about that too, Luke. I've been thinking about that too. I thought the God Wow just seems to have the golden touch. Of course, is the God Wow, right? So that's pretty amazing stuff there. Wow. Yeah. No comment, no updates on Twitter lately, though. No updates on Twitter. And Turtle here says, I like turtles. Yeah, turtles are going to be, this is the year of the turtle. You know that people say this year of the turtle. If Hex gets up to where we have, so even though we get 2 hexes and we get a stock split like that, and the values go, I think over time they go up. And remember, it's in USDC. It's a very important point, and Richard thought a lot about that. And of course, if you can get the culture of staking and people to keep the stickiness and engagement up as we have got, really, then that really does reduce the sellers down. So yeah. And this year, the year of the turtles, tinkering turtles, is probably the play, because as soon as we get Hex over $1, then you're going to have that in play. Hex is the dollar is the big psychological point. We'll get a lot of selling at $1. People will sell in $1, but it also gives us credibility in terms of the big investors. They go, oh, it's no longer a small stock; it's $1 now. That's worth a lot. And I've said this a couple times in this live stream. That dollar sign is a big thing for the big investors, you know, big VCs, the big institutions. A dollar kind of gives them that sense of, oh, this is not a penny stock anymore, as it were. This from traditional markets, so I think it's pretty exciting. And yeah, so Tinkering Turtles, the year of the Tinkering Turtles, if we get up there, because they get a lot of millionaires in there as well. So cool. You actually see we've had let's talk about this. Okay, for the sacrifice, we've had, let's do a refresh. We're at the 405 on now. I don't even remember refreshing it, but let's get up there. 405. Yeah, we're definitely at 420 million now for sure. So that's pretty cool. Probably 15 million on the other chains for 420. So well done. Now, obviously, the title of the video is 450. I think by tomorrow, when we do another live stream or do my daily vid even, wouldn't be surprised if we're up close to there. 24 hours from now, yeah, definitely the 350s in target for the next live stream. So we'll look forward to that. That's 24 hours from now. That's pretty exciting. Okay, what I was going to say was, with all the sacrificing, how many penalties we've been getting every day as Hex Stake has been crazy good. Last 10 days, every day over 6. And of course, those are people burning their T-shares, and they're putting it in. A lot of them will be putting it to sacrifice it into PulseX. I bet your bottom dollar. That's why we've got the behavior over 10 days. They're burning their T-shares out further, and some of them have some big, decent bags of Hex, but they're going to burn it, and they're going to take whatever they got left. They're going to put it into PulseX because they're looking for the big upside with the PulseX, with the swapping and buying and burning. And that's not even including anyone ever having to buy PulseX again. Their buying and burns is going to go, and it's going to be like a big engine just burning the fuel, as it were, for the buy and burn. It's kind of crazy cool. I love it. So yeah, so it's pretty amazing stuff. And man, for so many burns, and of course the dividends have been the payouts have been so epic with those penalties. And of course, was it yesterday? I think we had it was yesterday. Yeah, we had the 5th best day ever. So that's what I'm talking about. Stakers win over long term. It's going to accumulate, and those T-shares, it's bringing the T-share profile. We talked about this earlier, the good stuff that Patrick and that did. Let me jump back. The stuff here, we talked about what Patrick and that did with their latest update, that sort of stuff, that burning is going to bring it earlier. And I think the other thing is the 50%. Once these some of the a lot of the OGs will just play out their hands. They'll just keep staking like Kareem the Dream out to the future, but it's just some of those other ones that we've already seen do it, that maybe not doing it now, but in 2 years' time, because maybe they're staked out to out 10 years, that 5-year mark from the beginning. So they might have 3 years to go. They might see if the price of Hex goes up. That's why I'm saying it's kind of a function of Hex. The price of Hex goes up, then maybe in 3 years' time we could see a lot of those 50% unstaked. That's so they're going to pay out for that to get the US dollar play out, whatever. There'll be a certain amount, and then all those T-shares will get burned. And so this is going to accelerate this general projection here, and of course bring it in earlier. And of course all those penalties will go, obviously going to the Origin account or Genesis account, but it's going to go, the other part's going to all the stakers, right? And so there's going to be less T-shares, they're going to get more penalties. They're going to be getting this huge bag of Hex, man. Seriously, there's people that staked out longer than that don't unstake are going to get, it's just going to be crazy good. So it's going to be spectacular. And of course, there's going to be I think there's going to be relatively less T-shares than in the prediction here based on those things. So we've had the 2 sacrifices, and of course we've got the early end stake people happening at those times. And then in the future, we've also got the 50%, which can happen at any time, but the 50% increasingly so when you think about the 10-year stakers or something like that, or just when they get the 50%. So you're going to have all those penalties come into play. So it's going to be a gold mine. But pretty much those T-shares, if you've still got them, are going to be printing you increasing amounts of Hex, and that's super bullish for you. So pretty exciting in there. So I love that chart. Thought it was a pretty good presentation too by the 2555 guys. Was it the Crypto Spa book? I think I finally said it. Did I finally say it right? I think I did. So nice. All right. So ProHex says I missed the button of total wallets. Yeah, I don't. It's gone, Burger. Eh? Where is it? It's gone. Don't forget. Pretty much most of the links, if not all of them, are in the video description. Save them to your favorites is the way to go. Now, if you want to do a sacrifice, of course, PulseX.info. Just follow the instructions very carefully. Like I say, it's most people are sacrificing on ETH, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Matic. and of course Avalanche, you can send it to this one address, OX075 DDC8. That's where everyone's sending it. All you have to do is do a transfer, use the send function in your MetaMask or something like that. Just send the amount that you want to this address, and that it'll get recorded. But if you are doing something a bit different than Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, something on another chain, then just follow the instructions down here, and you'll be perfectly fine. You can actually tag your ETH address there too. So pretty cool. All right, so let's do a refresh here, and I think let's see if we get closer on that hex burn. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Let me have a look. So 405.3 million just on the ETH chain, and of course around about 15 or so on the other chains is kind of the estimate at the moment. So let's have a look at the Hex. 890 million Hex sacrificed. Woohoo! We'll be over 900 million tomorrow when we do another live stream. It's going to be pretty epic. I'm going to try and do the live stream for the next couple of days after the HexPo, and because I'll obviously watch it myself, and then we'll probably do this just for the next couple of days, and then I'll probably return to normal after that. Yeah, we can catch all that on, and we're pretty good. Let's have a look here. So let's end the poll. I think we got the poll. I'll just read a couple of his comments here. ProHex says Pulsechain had 41,000. That's correct. And of course, we're up to 38,000, just over 38 now. So we're only about 3,000 away. We're going to pass that probably before the 9th. We've been adding about 2,500 addresses a day lately. So nice. One dad says, okay, then I have to ask differently. If my goal is to invest my Hex and Pulse, should I do that before or after the fork? I have to invest my Hex and Pulse, should I do it after? You're laughing about it, but I'm not sure. Not sure what you mean there. So you want to get PulseX if you're going to sacrifice. You want to sacrifice some Hex. You want to get the PulseX, and you want to do it before the 9th if you want to get the best rate. Other than that, you're speculating on the price of Hex, and I'm bullish on the Hex price over the time, but I just don't know how it's going to play out exactly. So it's just my opinion at the stage. Break says, can you share the doc link? Doc link. Which doc are we talking about here? Doc link. This one. This is just a pasted picture. I got it off the live stream. I do it before. Yeah. Okay. So precisely say doing before. Yeah, it absolutely did before. And the ProHexer says a few times I ask a question, seems nobody could answer it. When some of my family members sacrifice TRX from Tron Wallet, how PLX and PLX will be seen. It's going to be seen when a mainnet goes live. It will be on the Pulsechain. It will be there, but you'll need to switch your MetaMask wallet over from whatever Ethereum typically over to Pulsechain when it goes live, possibly early March. And of course, your tokens will be airdropped there, and then you may have to add the custom tokens for PLS and PLSX to your MetaMask wallet or Trust wallet or whatever you're using to see it. So that's pretty much how it's going to go. So hopefully I've answered that. Hopefully I'm answering the question if I've interpreted that right there, ProHexer. Hungarian Hexkin in Thailand says, Game System posted something on Twitter that he's done a rollback, should be fixed tomorrow. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll look forward to that. I think we could get some nice updates there. Thanks for that, Hungarian. Big shout out to you for that. Don't you love the community? Getting some fresh info straight off the bat there. Very, very cool. It's great to be in this community. Everyone's so helpful. Let's refresh and see if we're still on CoinMarketCap. Come on. Well, the big test is if we're still there in 24 hours and then I guess a week. You're just so nervous about these places because they just do this. It's just odd that they suddenly decide to pop up here. It has happened before, but we're still there. Number 8, and man, oh man, all we need is now is to pump that price and start moving up, and the rest of the market will take notice. The other side of what I said is that there are some index trusts out there which actually may invest in the top 10, not excluding stables coins, maybe top 10 and other stuff like that. So they that would put Hex in the mix for those. That's what I'm talking about, the big fish that are investing in multi trusts. Even like Grayscale possibly may have. I think they might have something, but I think they select their tokens, not necessarily just what's in the order. Some places like trust, they often recalibrate every day, some recalibrate every month or every quarter. So there's a few out there like that. So that'd be pretty interesting to see. That's new buying demand. If that was the case, if we can stay up there, we may very well find ourselves in the mix for that, and also a candidate for Grayscale as well. If we stayed up there, I guess is the way. I'm not sure how they do their thing, but definitely something there. ProHex says MetaMask is no Tron chain. No. So no Tron chain. Tron's a different address. You have to get a different address for your sacrifice. on Tron. But what I'm saying is the points that you get from sacrificing using Tron will get calibrated in the distribution file, and then of course on mainnet will show up on Pulsechain. So yeah. Let me just go to the thing here. I think it's down here. Yeah, so Tron here. If you're sending on the following networks, Tron, you must provide an address. What Ethereum address do you want to credit to your sacrifice? Enter it below. That's what you have to do there. And of course, that's how you're gonna get into that. So nice. Connect your wallet up, of course, if you want to get an address. Once your address is there, and then you go to the next step 2 and 3, and you'll get a generated address. But Tron actually has an address that you can use, so it's pretty easy. Tron came out with Ethereum address at the beginning, so you can use that. I don't know if I've got that on the link there, so you just have to follow the instructions here at the bottom, and you'll be perfectly fine with that. Hopefully that answers that. Process you may have to upload your seed phrase into MetaMask wallets, then add the Pulsechain network and switch it to it. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. Process, I know. I have all the chains, including testnet. Yeah, that's what I thought you did, ProHexer. That's why I was confused why you're asking the question. Matt says, how do you know? Can I send USDC from Solana wallet to my MetaMask? I don't know if wallets can interact. No, well, they've got to be the right chain. There, Matt. Got to be the right chain. So I'm sure if that's on there, on that one there. So it doesn't seem to be on there at the moment. I thought you could do Solana. You might have to go back on Richard Hart's tweets and check that, because I haven't checked that one for a while. I thought I saw something on Solana, so yeah, I thought you could do that. I feel sorry for anyone just getting into crypto right now. It must be so confusing. I bet it is, Turtlehead. I think you're absolutely right about that. Solana and TRX is not possible in MetaMask. That's correct. They are not possible in MetaMask. She says 400 million is sacrificed. How did it go to 100x lol? I said it's always the circulating supply. That's the pump mentals. ProHex says, oh, I get it now, says ProHexer. Oh, cool. Oh, that's good. All right, great stuff. All right. So we're on an hour and 20, folks. It's typically when I finish the live stream, and got a few extra questions there, a couple of things I might follow on up for tomorrow. So that would be cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let's finish the poll, and I hope you guys enjoyed the HexPo day 1. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was very well organized from Matty Allen. And they kept relatively good for the timelines, I think, on the most part, so it was pretty good. All right, let's end the poll, and we've got 45 votes today, so we'll check that out, and here we go. All right, so let me just, poll's coming up, folks. We're just about finished. There we are. So what Hex conference day 1 shows did you enjoy the most? Hex Talks, 33%. Okay, so that came in strong. So the Hex Talks, everyone liked that. Obviously meeting all the people. There's a lot of people we met, a lot of nice people out there too, wasn't there? I thought they were pretty nice. And that was number 1. Power T-shares, hour 4, 28%. That was my favorite too, because I love the data stuff, and I'm a big fan of the Patrick and Abid as well. So I think it's amazing what they're doing on the 555 tour. It really is spectacular. So that's pretty cool. Social media and Hexkins, hour 5, 20%. Yeah, that was good too. And I really enjoyed seeing some of the people actually doing social media, Facebook, Twitter, what was the other one? TikTok, Telegram, and it was great seeing a few female faces on there too. You know, I've been talking about that. That is happening. We're definitely adding a lot more female promoters, particularly around Pulsechain, and PulseX is definitely doing that. So it's really good to see that. So very nice. And intro to testimonials, 70%. Obviously, they had people like exologists and other people on there. That was pretty nice. So very, very cool, folks. Let's get into the final couple of comments. And I'm going to go back to the Pulsechain. We're going to do one more update before we finish the live stream as well. So there we go, 405.5 million, and yeah, hit next target. So we're about just over 420 as my guess, and so next target 450 million. That's our one for tomorrow. Let's see how we get there. But Matt and Barley says, cool, we'll check. Been here since 2017, but been too scared to send crypto around with wallets, to be honest. That's probably perfectly fine. And Brazolzi says, yeah, some of my onboards are really terrified to press any button because they don't want to lose their money. So they ask me along every step, but I don't mind. Yeah, I've done that too a lot, as just to help step by step. You have to do it with people that are not very familiar. And of course, I always do the check the first part of your address and the last part. The first couple of digits, always get them to do that as a good practice. I get them to do that for ages. They do that for ages, and then that gives them a lot more confidence. And I always say also send a little bit amount depending on what chain you're in. depending on how the fees affect it. But if you're on a chain that's got not too bad fees, send a small amount, and then they get a bit more confidence that way. Yeah, some of my, yeah, so cool. Cardano TV says, OMG, you're right. We're on CoinMarketCap. Must be an impending court case. That's what I was saying. But we have been popped on there before, once or twice before. But you're absolutely right, Cardano TV. Praxis says, me too. I have a lot of Turk people. They don't speak English, so I make a few times a week workshops in a restaurant for Turk Hex guidance. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic, Praxis. Well, hats off to you for that. This is massive, says Cardano TV. It is massive. It is really huge. And we're going to probably end on that too. Precisely says, that's awesome, Prohexer. It is awesome. Yes, a big shout out to Prohexer for that. Cheers, bro. Keep up the stream, says Brenton. Hey, you're most welcome. And thanks for watching. I might do a bit more about the sacrifice tomorrow as well. And I like to get that all queued up first rather than talking about live. So I might queue that up. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's put out the emojis. Don't forget, heading towards 2,500 subscribers. Hit over 2,400 today. Let's see if we can do it. It'll be very exciting, and onwards and upwards to that. Let's get into the thing. So very cool, and congratulations to Brazology for becoming a moderator today. So nice. So hats off, and what a great job you've done as well. Very cool. Right, so let's go over. There we are. 405.5 is what we're at the sacrifice. Let's go over to crypto coin. Oh, yeah, let's go to CoinMarketCap and refresh there. I thought my computer was about to die. So we got that updated. Let's go. And number 8, woohoo! That's big news for today. I mean, it's pretty massive news. So pretty awesome stuff. All right, everybody, take care. And if you're watching this after the live stream, put any comments you make in the comment. I always respond to those as best I can. So get in there as well. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you want to join as a channel member, hit the join button. We've got Pulsechain, Xkins, and the Richard Hart Club. So onwards and upwards. And I will catch you later. Let me find the old exit button. We've got a couple comments there going in. Brazil, woohoo! Yeah, woohoo, says Brazology. And Matt says, love your work. Have a good Friday night. Yeah, this Friday. It's currently 9:26 p.m. on Friday here in New Zealand at the beginning. We're in the future, of course. And Turtle's got the 8 on there. Thanks for the stream. I like it. I try to wake up more early, says Proexa. Hey, nice one, Proexa. Some really nice comments from you today as well, so I appreciate that. All right, take care, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow is day 2 of HexPo online. So it's going to look pretty cool with that as well, starting off with the price. So if you love price, and I like it, watch price, going to crypto coffee in there. It's going to be pretty badass, I imagine. Nice. All right, take care now. Bye. Cheers.